Oh yeah, see, that's what I like. I hope y'all find your way back. That's what I like. When they know that they think or whatever. When I get really, I'm gonna wait till a couple more people get on here. When I get to getting down and dirty with you people, when I start to getting down and dirty with you people, you want to play gatekeeper. Yeah, but the information is still there, man. So I'm not going to stop. That's one of the reasons I stopped, man, because you want to play with the avenues that I have or whatever. But how can you, as a gatekeeper of the northern, yeah? So how can you as gatekeeper to all the northern institutions assign somebody who doesn't work for MDOC to be a gatekeeper for the people coming in for all programs, or to determine whether somebody has the right to stay at the guest house? You and nobody else, only the supervisory chaplain can dictate who stays at their guest house. They can submit the NCIC to you. You can review it. Now you can say yay or nay, or chief of security or your deputy superintendent, which is Ren, can review it and do an NCIC check. You can't play gatekeeper to the Spiritual Life Center when people want to bring people in for programs. Yet you do that here, but yet and still your same uncle that works at Delta, you let him start with his nonprofit, start going into the prisons without being screened. They haven't had any volunteer training. They haven't went anywhere and had any volunteer training. So how are they going to have access to all your prisons in the northern? And he said he can go. His quote is, "I can go to any prison in the state." You know what I mean? Without him ever having, first of all, volunteer training, which is mandatory. You know what I mean? According to the policy statement, chapter 31 or 31 and 33 on the religious services, he has to be trained. Anybody that comes in with him has to go through a volunteer training. If he's going to come in on a consistent basis, if it's a one-time thing, you can have the NCIC approved, and then he can come in. But how can you give your uncle the authority to go to any prison, but yet and still you want to play gatekeeper at Parchman and put out a memo with CatWoman's name on it saying that everybody has to come through her? And I wonder, has the commissioner seen this, or has any of the exec staff seen this? Because if they have, it's a violation and they're culpable too. You know, they're going to be held liable too, because you can't infringe upon somebody's religious right or deny a religious group like Jehovah's Witness, Nation of Islam, or any other group that wants to send somebody in to come in. You can't deny them, and you can't have somebody that works for MADCOR to be the gatekeeper on those people coming in. You know what I mean? So you're taking it upon yourself to usurp power that wasn't given to you, that can't be given to you, not even by the commissioner. You know what I mean? It has to be written in policy, and the exec staff have to review it and decide whether it's a policy. First of all, you're in violation first for even having somebody from MADCOR's name on the memo with MDOC, with people having to write paperwork through her. You know what I mean? But again, you think that because you have been appointed a position that you can do what you want to do. It's just like a cup of water. When you put your finger in that water, it takes up space. That's the position you're in. As soon as they replace you, that hole is going to fill up, and they're going to replace somebody. They're going to replace you with somebody else, man. So don't think that you're untouchable or that you have this superpower and you can do what you want to do. The same way you got your workers walking around with pocket knives on them. The same way that you're letting your offspring ride around on four-wheeler or side-by-sides, with offenders all over the compound. You know what I mean? That's not a recreational vehicle. You know what I'm saying? It's not a recreational vehicle. Buy her a four-wheeler and let her ride it around your house. It shouldn't be done on Parchman ground. If she get hurt on Parchman ground, then what you gonna do? If something happened to her between her and that offender, then what you gonna do? You're gonna be mad, and then you're gonna want to string somebody up on the old hanging, on the old oak tree. You know what I mean? So you're not above the law, just like your sidekick got removed for misappropriating, for using vehicles that he wasn't authorized to use, even though we know you gave him permission to do it, to drop his kids off, even though we know you gave him permission, because that man would not have done that without you knowing. And you knew. So for you not to even call him or say it's, or accept responsibility and say, hey man, I'm gonna fall on the knife for this one because I gave him permission because of the situation that he was in. It's a rural area, the school is a long way. So yeah, I gave him permission. He had to leave work, he comes in early. You could have just took that and gave the man a reprimand or whatever, But then that's hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20. So if you stir oil and water, it'll mix in for a minute, but sooner or later it'll separate. And you'll get that in a minute. You'll get that in a minute. You know what I mean? So who are you to think that you're above the law, man? That you can put out even something like that? In the same way you close the place every time the commissioner comes down or anybody that comes to visit or the governor comes to visit or any senator comes to visit, you close the place, but then you open it back up because it's not really supposed to be open. You know what I mean? You still have your power breakfast there. There's only supposed to be one club. Only supposed to be one club. You keep saying you don't have any money, but yet and still, when you have family day, you got your pavilion at the fish pond. You got offenders that's going out there on their own fishing, catching fish, coming back to the chapel and cooking. You got people going out there hunting, quail hunting, or shooting coyotes on the thing, an offender. You know what I mean? A convicted felon, let me say that. I won't say offender this time because people won't understand. You got convicted felons out there shooting coyotes and shooting quail. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not insane. Give them a lot of tests or give them the residue test. You know what I mean? I want to do the game warden know you're doing that, or does the commission know that you're doing that? And so that is one of the things, man. And how can you, how can I say it, give power to everybody, from deputy warden, give police powers to people who haven't been to law enforcement training. You know what I mean? How can you say a deputy warden or a warden has the power to arrest? It's impossible, man. It's impossible. There's no way that you should be able to do that. You know what I mean? How can you extend the reach of law enforcement inside the prison? Correctional officers are not law enforcement officers. You know what I mean? They took an oath to be an officer at the prison and whatever that entails, whether it's a deputy warden, from a correctional officer to a deputy warden to a superintendent, therefore the Mississippi Department of Corrections. When you extend police powers inside of a prison, then you're asking for deep corruption. You know what I mean? If you're short-handed, that's a whole nother problem. Stop picking at people, laying them off for allegations when you're giving your people, this black and white. I'm the stripes. Use your jacket. When you're giving people who are not the stripe slaps on the wrist for corruption that they're doing and the misconduct that they're doing. So you know what I mean? So you got to stop that, man. And the people down at East Mississippi and Walnut Grove, man, are crying for help and attention. Yet and still, and that's in the northern. If I'm not mistaken, you're responsible for East Mississippi and Walnut Grove. You know what I mean? Go check and see why Pride is still throwing his weight around on the people who are incarcerated there. You know what I mean? Man, so stop it, man. Give these guys an opportunity. Why you haven't given guys that have programs that they still develop and do outside of prison? You got a lot of guys at 28 and 30 who are capable of running programs or working for you. You know what I mean? Where they can train other inmates and change their criminal mindset, their criminal thinking, but you're keeping them locked up in the unit. You know what I mean? Man, fix the water at 29. Do the things that are supposed to be done instead of passing the buck and telling everybody that CatWoman is the gatekeeper for everything that goes here because I'm so busy. I'm running over to Marshall County and down to these other prisons, Issaquah and all the different places that you're responsible for. If your job too big for you to handle that, man, then put down your cape and move on. You're in the retirement realm. You know what I mean? You didn't really come up in corrections, man. You came from probation and parole, the people who are trying to take over the state. You know what I mean? And I'll be back to talk to y'all about 720 or MCIW. You know what I mean? And the thing that's going on down there, you let a girl that had cancer, man, die alone in a holding cell, you know, and her mom is still recovering, is still hurt, is still trying to get over the death of her daughter, you know, that died in the holding cell where you put her after she had chemo with nobody there. And you let an inmate call her to tell her that her daughter had passed away. You know what I mean? If you're short of chaplain, then the deputy warden or the superintendent should have called and said, hey, ma'am, your daughter passed away from such and such at this time or whatever. An offender shouldn't have nervously called her and try to find a way to tell her that her daughter had passed, a person that was incarcerated like her, you know, has passed away. You know what I mean? There's no way that an offender, a female offender, should have called the mom to tell her that her daughter had passed in a cell alone, you know, by herself. You know, let alone passing, but, you know, just pass along by herself. You know, no staff was available, you know what I'm saying, to tell her that. No staff had enough compassion. Why? Because they see us as animals. You know what I mean? You take us out, you throw us in the back or whatever. You send us to the crime lab. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot going on in MDOC, man. I got a lot to talk about. I got a whole list of stuff. I just wanted to jump on and let you people know I was still here. But I just can't get over Batman, man, extending his powers to CatWoman like that, and then had the nerve to put it on the memo. You know, so I think that you need to do, what's up, Cap? You know, so I think that you need to rethink the things that you're doing. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Barnett or White or whatever get, you know, taking kickbacks or something or whatever. Yeah. You all right? Give me a call in a minute, man. I'm gonna jump off here in a minute, man. I was just checking with the people and seeing how they still treat my people down here at MDOC, man. Yeah. But I'll be back with you this evening. You can guarantee that, to finish up my book. I got a whole book while I've been gone, man, that's pointed at you. You know what I mean? With all the different things that you've been let going on, Batman. And you, Mr. Owen. The stuff that you've been doing down at CMCL. There's a whole lot of it, man. You know, haven't heard too much from SMCI, you know, other than a little racism. But, you know, we'll deal with that in a minute. But, you know, I'll be back with you, MDOC, you know, because that's my stomping ground. You're in my backyard. So get your stuff together, man. If you don't like it down here, go back over to West Point. Go back over to West Point and go back to probation and parole, man. Stop infringing. Stop acting like you Superman, Batman. You know what I mean? And get CatWoman, man, out the way. Send her back over there at her desk at MadCorp. You know what I mean? Send her back over there. I appreciate it. Yeah, take care, man. I'll get back with you this evening.